You're listening to Table for Five with Felicia and Annette, only on LA Talk Radio.
You've seen The View. You've heard all the real talk. Now have a seat at our table. A table for five.
Yes, it is phenomenal.
I know.
Good morning. Good Monday morning, everyone. Yes. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Table for Five.
Yes.
With Felicia and Annette. I'm Felicia.
I'm Annette.
Yes. And today is Monday, October 22nd, 2018.
Yes.
Last show
Wednesday.
we were in 2019.
Yeah, I was a year ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I was very excited. I don't know. I just wanted it to be October 2019.
Yes. We wanted to be over in a year. So welcome every morning to Table for Five, where you, the listening and viewing audience, will always have a seat right here at this table here on our show. We'd love to. We are going to have a great show today.
This is a powerful show.
Yes, we have two rock
stars. I call them rock stars.
Yes, rock stars. Amazing people, amazing humans.
Yes.
I mean, listen, I'm going to try really hard not to cry on this show because all weekend I've been like emotional and looking at you guys' stuff and just in awe. So, yes, we will get to that in a second. We will introduce them. But let's let Annette do some little housekeeping.
Yeah, our normal weekly and every show housekeeping, if I can find my notes, but I guess I basically, okay. You know where we are every week. We're here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 11 a.m. on LA Talk Radio. But if you want to join us here live right now, you can find us on our Facebook Live page at Felicia and Annette. So if you don't want to call in, which I don't have the call-in number.
Yep, the call-in number, if you do so choose to call in and want to have some questions for our guests. If you subscribe to our newsletter, you know what we're talking about. And if you don't, then you'll find out in a minute. Yeah. But the number to call is 818-570-5085. Again, 818-570-5085 to call in.
Yeah. And so if you want to know what's going on with us during the week and what we're doing, what we're up to, and what our shows are going to be for the following week, you could catch us all on our social media platform, on our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook, our YouTube, and our website, which we like to call our one-stop shop. And there you can catch up on how we got started and why we're called Table for Five. Where, someone just asked us off the air, what's Table for Five? You're only two. So also you can catch up on all our former shows. We have a gallery page. You could click on there and you can just see who's been on our show. And there's the Advertise With Us tab. You could click on there and you can see all the tier offerings. And someone very friendly will get back to you, and professional at that. Yes. And finally, we have a newsletter that goes out for Monday and Wednesday's show. And on those newsletters, it's a wonderful way for you to know a little bit more about our guests and how to connect with them, and any information that's going on about the month. We're celebrating, well, not celebrating, we're honoring Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So there's a little tidbit on that information, and you can click on it, and it leads you to a link to get further information. So if you'd like to be subscribed to our newsletter, all you got to do is go to our website at table-for-5, and then go to contact and put your email. That's all.
That's all.
You'll get we don't need any other information other than your email.
Yeah, no credit card information.
Yeah,
I mean, unless you want to give it to us.
I know, yeah. Unless you want to donate to the show, we take donations. No. And check your spam. Should you?
Yes, if you've already subscribed.
Yeah,
check
if you've
your
already
spam,
subscribed.
because sometimes it jumps in there, even if you've put it on a safe list. So just so that you know what's happening, what's coming up. On our shows. Only 2 emails a week. That's
it. 2 emails, simple.
We don't
and
bombard
they're
you.
So good and informative and so professionally done.
And they're pretty.
I love them. I'm very proud of our newsletters.
If you can't tell.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't do them, but I'm proud of them.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, we have to approve them.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. So we're going to jump right into it because we have a 50-minute show today, and we have so much to cover, literally so much to cover. This topic is so important, and the people that we have here at this table, it's such an honor to have them. Like I was saying earlier, you guys are just amazing. Anyways, today's show topic is on the faces. It's about the faces of homelessness, or we're calling it the faces of homelessness. Here to talk about the current state of homelessness in Los Angeles is Mel. I can never pronounce your last name.
Mr. T.
There you go.
Mr. Mel T, who is a friend of Table for Five.
Yeah,
this is his second
before.
time on the show, and so many great things have happened. since that last time that you were here. So we're going to talk about that, but I digress. Mel founded Monday Night Mission and co-founded the Shower of Hope. And this year also started the hashtag She Does movement. The She Does movement also uses advocacy to expand shelter facilities and supportive housing for the homeless women in Los Angeles. He has been involved in outreach and advocacy for the homeless for the past 7 years. He's been at this for 7 years. And then today, again, along with Mel today, is another impactful guest. Impactful, that's a great word, but like, yes, I mean, yeah. There's other like strong adjectives too to describe her. No. Well, maybe.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
That's a good. I didn't want to type that. Out of her mind.
Impactful guest.
She must be out of her mind.
Yeah, exactly. And her name is Janshep, so
Yes.
she's new to the show today. Jan studied spiritual psychology at the University of Santa Monica and worked as a transformational coach for 2 decades. A mother of 2 and a minister in the Movement of Spiritual Inner Awareness, or MSIA. Jan has 3 grandchildren and lives in Los Angeles. Jan has been taking homeless people to lunch for a year in the Santa Monica area where she lives. That's kind of amazing. She has a video documentary called Heartfelt Connections, sharing meals with the homeless. You can view it on YouTube. She also encourages you to document your own efforts using the hashtag DoSomethingHeartfelt. Hashtag DoSomethingHeartfelt. For more information, please contact Jan this is your personal email address, right? And it's Janshep, SHEP, @AOL.com. And the video is on YouTube, is Do Something Heartfelt. And we'll have a link. We have a link to that?
We have a link to it, and it's all. If you go to our website, it's all there.
Yes.
And our social media platforms.
Yeah. So I'm going to do. That was a long intro, but I'm going to do a nice little crowd applause. You guys can't really hear it, but you'll hear it when you listen back to the show. So welcome, guys. Welcome so much. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
I know. I'm super. I'm just going to jump right in really
quick.
Yes,
go ahead.
Well, Mel, we've had on, and Mel has a lot to share with us of what all the awesome things that are going on. And plus, I want to talk to you about Proposition H and Triple H, right? We have to talk about that.
And we're talking about Yes on 10.
Yes.
Is that Yes on 10?
Yes on 10.
Right, Yes on 10. And I also want to talk about the movie, and you spoke to the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a lot going on since the last time. But
and
I just
you started the showers, because the showers you weren't doing.
I was doing that 2 years
Oh,
ago.
yeah,
You
he
were?
was.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the focus was on hashtag She Does the movement.
Right.
But I just want to say how I found.
Yes.
I found Janshep. No, I did not. I didn't discover her. I was on my LinkedIn account, and I was just scrolling through, like you scroll through anything else. And I follow Thrive Global and Ariana Huffington, and she had posted this video. And I started watching this video, and I literally was like laying down, and I sat up, and I was like, what? This lady's doing what? Like, she just randomly decided she's walking down Santa Monica. I'm going to take homeless people to lunch and find out what's going on in their lives and how did they become homeless and why are they homeless and what's their backstory. And literally that blew me, honest to goodness. I mean, I was talking to her off the air, but I was saying that really shook me because as a normal person without any, we go to Santa Monica all the time and we eat in all the fabulous restaurants and we just get in our lovely cars and then we go
Beautiful
home.
Tourist area.
And and we just kind of walk by them, every now and again you give them a bag of leftover food because you don't buy the food, just give them what you had left over. But nobody stops to ask them,
right,
what's your name? How'd you get here? What's your story?
Right.
And the fact that she did this blew me away. So it's really an honor to have you here.
Yes.
Thank you.
I told the ladies, I said, we've got to find her. I don't know how to find her. Just follow.
Hunt her down.
Yeah, hunt her down.
Act homeless in Santa Monica.
And so I just said, we've got to track her down. And our wonderful executive producer tracked her down. And she just got her, and we have her here. So I am so honored to see you in person and ask you a million questions. But I just want to give that story.
Thank you.
So,
so do you want to start with Mel?
Well, I just wanted to, I was doing a little bit of research and staggering statistics that are going on right now in Los Angeles. And and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, if this is, because the internet this is the New York Times and the LA Times. We're saying that there's a 23% surge in homelessness since 2016, 2017. And LA is one of the highest numbers of homelessness in the country, and it beat New York. And I just about flipped. I was like, what are we doing? Like, how are we getting to these?
What aren't we doing?
Like, no, what are we doing? We're
what are we doing
displacing. We're displacing these people basically, because part of what I discovered and in my reading was there's a lot of homelessness, and I'm curious to know if maybe one of you can answer, how do you count homelessness when they're homeless?
Yeah,
when people are living
That's
in
a
their
good
cars,
question.
and then the incredible amount of numbers of people living in their cars that are family, that are working class people living in their cars. These are not mentally, handicapped. These are college educated. Some of them are making six figures. Some of them just are down on their luck, and they're living with their children in their car. And when it's a term, it's vehicular homelessness. It's a new term. And well, for me it was. And I was just taken aback. I guess we have to demystify what the boogeyman of homelessness is. And I think both of you have been able to, in your respective lines of not work, but charity,
work, like hard work, that's work,
have been able to kind of pierce that wall a little bit.
Yeah.
So tell me, either one of you can chime in. Is this true? Are you seeing more families? Have you seen a rise in homelessness?
It's scary. It's scary because the narrative is different from 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
3-4 years ago, we were looking at people with severe mental illness on our streets. And that used to be the biggest demographic of what homelessness was.
Right.
Today, that's not the case. Today, the case is you go to Boyle Heights, you go to Lincoln Heights, you go to South LA. None of the people who were there, who had been there for generations, are there anymore. Why? Because developers go in under the name of that great name, gentrification,
Right.
and they give them rent hikes.
Right.
And we were fighting for a group called Burlington Unidos. It's in Westlake, right next to MacArthur Park. The owner of that property gave the tenants 1 bedrooms 25% increase, 2 bedrooms of 40% increase.
Wow.
And people are struggling.
Yeah.
The people you see in their cars, it's not mental illness.
Yeah.
It's not
No.
anything else. It's they make
It's can't
they
affording.
make minimum wage.
Yeah.
But good luck trying to afford an apartment on
Yeah.
minimum wage.
Yeah.
And that's what's scary, is because we can't track how many people are there.
Right.
We're seeing more and more families. We're
Right.
seeing more. I tell people, when you walk down your neighborhood, when you walk down your street, check to see how many cars you see with blankets and pillows. That's
That's a
the
homeless
problem
person,
we have.
probably. Yeah, that's a homeless family or
Yeah,
person. in
it's
that car.
I found that information to be, and it's staggering. It's not, doesn't matter where you live. It's staggering. It's happening in Orange County. It's happening in Ventura County. There's no like, you move over here, that's not going to follow you. You're not going to see
Right.
it. As a matter of fact, my husband and I were saying, there's no homeless in our area, and no sooner did we say that, we started noticing them. And it's not like they're like under the bridge. No,
Right.
they're in their car.
Yeah.
There's an RV parked in front of our son's school. A student lives in that RV. And I brought that to my son's attention. I said, do you realize that young man lives in that RV and his family parks there during the week so he can get to school, and
wow.
they go to work, but that's their home.
Wow.
And that's the reality. It's almost like the veil has been taken off. Like, this is it's been exposed. Like, don't pretend like it's not in your neighborhood, because it is.
Well, and I think people have to make a conscious effort sometimes. I think maybe either we've been desensitized to it, or, I mean, I don't know. I think for a while I was a little desensitized because I kind of grew up in Santa Monica. And so I feel like there's always been a homeless issue in Santa Monica. But I think now it's definitely doubled, tripled from when I remember it. But I think that when you go to other areas, you think, we're, here at the mall, and you go and you just look at the superficial stuff. It's not until you actually really start looking. And I love what you said in your documentary about how you didn't even really notice it until you actually started walking the street. So go ahead.
I think what you said is very critical, Felicia. Like in LA, a lot of people have grown up desensitized to it. The numbers that we can track, we have 53,760 people homeless in the county of LA.
That's just trackable.
The numbers we can track, you're looking at a good 50,000 more.
So it's double.
If there was a place anywhere else in the world, not even 10,000 people are displaced from where they were living, we'd call it a crisis and we'd be up in arms about it.
Yeah.
We have 53,000 people that we can track who are homeless in LA. Why are we looking at other issues when this is the most prominent issue facing us every day?
Right.
And we know that rents are only going to keep going higher.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say a big contributing factor, like we're talking about now, the increase in the families is, like you said, it's due to the fact that, you know, minimum wage is supposed to go up, but it hasn't gone up. And then the rent situation in this city, county, because even in Santa Clarita, where I live, it's still part of Los Angeles County. So rents out there are like ridiculously, insanely expensive. It's gone up $1,000, maybe even $1,200 to $1,500 in the last, I would say, we've been here for almost 14 years. So in the last 10 years, it's gone up $1,000. That's $100 every year that your rent has increased for the last 10 years. And I don't see anybody's paycheck going up by that much. And
well,
so
when your
I don't
paycheck goes up,
understand.
so your taxes, they take more taxes.
Right.
It doesn't,
but it doesn't
balance
not
out.
not balancing out to that.
And another thing that's very critical, and it's a good point you brought it up about Santa Clarita. Back then, it used to be you'd live in Santa Clarita, you'd live in even the Antelope Valley,
Right.
and you drive to LA to work.
Because you could, it's more affordable.
Gas right now is $3.60.
Oh, yeah.
And
When
that's
you look
good.
at how much it costs to drive, vehicle repairs, maintenance, living outside of the city and coming in doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
And that's where you see, you know, I tell people, you know, there's that saying, oh, you know, your people only a paycheck away. You're not a paycheck away. If you're driving to work and your transmission burns out, that's $1,000 to $1,500 repair.
So what's the solution?
The solution is not one solution. It has to be multiple solutions. We have to look at how do we address the crisis we have now.
Yeah.
We have to speed up building supportive housing.
Right.
We have to push what we were pushing, shelters, what we call bridge housing for people. And at the same point, we as cities in the state of California have to have the right to get rent control. And we can't get rent control because of a bill that was passed in 1995 called Costa-Hawkins. Now, I know you guys are hearing this really scary message on TV every half an hour saying, no on 10, no on 10.
Right, right.
I want you guys to understand that these are paid for by Blackstone, Equity, Greystone, all these big development companies who are like Blackstone is a private hedge fund. Why are they pushing these messages out? Not because they care about
property?
you. Please don't think that these big corporations care about you. All this messaging is very scary, but that is nothing they're saying is true. All that this proposition does is, if it passes, then we have the right to choose rent control. So we as people of LA, we as people of California, we have a right to choose whether we want rent control or not.
Okay.
And we need people to go and vote yes on 10, but also today is a very critical day. Today is the last day people can vote in the state of California. Go online
to register.
Yeah,
to register.
Yes, you need to register to vote. So I want to talk about the rent control issue really quickly, because I remember growing up, my grandmother lived in Santa Monica. She had a very small 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in Santa Monica, 11 blocks away from the beach. And she was only there because there was rent control. So I remember when this proposition came up, and I started thinking to myself, at what point did rent control go away, and why
did rent control in Santa
so there is still
Yeah.
rent control, but then how is it, like, I remember when she passed away, why is it that rent control didn't stay?
Because once you move out of your apartment, you can
Then
get
they
the
can-
fair market value, and then there's rent
okay.
control at the fair market value from then on up.
Oh, okay.
And they
okay.
can raise your rent, I think, maybe 3%.
3% with 1% for utilities.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it just in
That's just Santa
certain
Monica.
cities
Yes.
then?
Just Santa Monica.
So then how is this proposition, where did it go? Did it used to be like that for all of Los Angeles?
No,
and where
like
did this
even
proposition
LA,
come in when we talked about
buildings built
95?
before 1978 have rent control.
Okay.
This proposition came in 1995.
Okay.
So anything grandfathered in could stay. It's just anything built after 1995, you don't have any control of.
Okay.
So all this bill does is, just because it passed doesn't mean on November 7th anybody's going to have rent control, new rent control. All it means is, as cities, we can organize and fight for rent control in our own cities.
Gotcha.
So the premise is, do we have the right as cities to choose rent control?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We're a city
we
of 4
should.
million people. That's the size of a country.
Yeah.
And we should have the right to choose whether we want it and how
Yeah.
we want it. It doesn't have to be 3%. It could be 5%. But you can't say you're going to a neighborhood and you can't say, oh, we are gentrifying a neighborhood, when you're going to majority Latino and black neighborhoods and giving people 30, 40, 50% rent increases.
Yeah.
Latinos and African Americans in LA pay 50 to 61% of their income towards rent.
Wow.
50 to 61. When their kids get sick, who pays for it? When something happens, it doesn't have to be when you get sick. What about the kids? When you're paying 62% of your income towards rent control, are these parents really able to feed their kids healthy meals? Or is it just going to be a McDonald's diet for the rest of their life?
Right.
So we have to look at, okay, at least we have to have the right to choose rent control.
Yes.
Well, that's our public service announcement. But I wanted to ask you, the last time you were here, you were here for the hashtag She Does movement. What has happened since then?
Yes. Has anything changed? Has anything improved?
So that actually goes a lot with the work Jan is doing, and I'm really appreciative of what Jan has been doing. So what we've been trying to do is push the idea that we need more shelters for women.
Yes.
Right now we're fighting for every single shelter bed we can. Hollywood started construction on a shelter.
Yes, I saw that.
2 shelters actually, beginning of this month. Venice and Lafayette Park, that's MacArthur Park, is supposed to start in a couple of weeks.
Are these for women or these?
These are mixed. Hollywood
Okay.
does one that's exclusively women, but we're pushing everything because even if it's a shelter like Venice, it's a shelter for 154 people.
Okay.
50 of that will be women, 50 adult males, and 54 youth.
Okay.
Every one of those beds is a person's life on our hands.
Yeah.
So we are willing to fight for it nail and tooth. But where Jan comes in is, right now the biggest issue we have, the reason we are getting delayed, is because we have these people coming up and saying, don't build shelters. These people, a person actually said at a meeting, don't humanize these people. And that's why
Are these people that are in the neighborhoods that where the shelters are going?
these people, like in Venice, they call them residents of the Venice Brigade or something. Something stupid. Just people selfish, greedy,
because they don't want it in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
What are they afraid of? Let's try to play devil's advocate and say, put ourselves in their position. What is it that they could be afraid of? Are they afraid that their property values are going to go down?
Yes.
What
So the premise of this is very simple. They're afraid that something bad is going to happen when you put the people sleeping in tents on their street into a shelter
building.
where they're protected.
Yeah.
You can't talk logic with these people.
Right.
Your property values are already affected if you have
Right.
tents on your street.
Right.
When you have people on the street, they are exposed to more violence than we are.
Right.
Violence against homeless people is up 48%.
Wow.
People are afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
People are afraid of what they don't know. People are afraid. I'm going to give you an example. One of the men in my film, his name is Nick. He's schizophrenic. He's one of the more gentle people I know. He just sometimes loses control and screams. Okay, now his screaming is this voice that tells him things, but he wouldn't hurt a fly. So I've known Nick over the years. I know his background. His father was a doctor. His grandfather was a Greek Orthodox priest.
Oh, wow.
He died. His father died when he was 8 years old. His mother was a schizophrenic artist. Okay, he had a brother who died of Crohn's disease. He went to a boarding school in Aspen. He was raised in a family where he was told there's nothing more important than to be a good man. I mean, so his background, and I know his background. There was a book about his uncle had written about how his family came here from Greece.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I know about him. I know his truth. I've gotten very close to him. Okay. After knowing him for a long time, I've allowed him to come to my apartment to take a bath and to spend the night a couple of times a week. And I just have a one-bedroom apartment, so that's a whole other story. But one day he started ranting. And I said, Nick, you have to leave. You can't rant and disturb. I live in a small complex in a very nice neighborhood. And when he was ranting, one of my neighbors got scared. Okay. So there was kind of a roar. And I talked to all my neighbors, and I explained more about him and who he was and his background. They now accept him.
Right.
They see him coming. They know he's harmless. They say hello, you know.
Wow.
And so now that they know him, they're not afraid anymore.
Right.
Gotcha.
You know, but before they were afraid.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that part of like what I'm trying to do is, because, you know, I have an instinct, and I don't go to the druggies, and I don't go to, it's just, for me, I have an instinct of who to connect with. It's like I've been able to put a human face on a lot of the people. And I think that when we get to know who these people are, you know, everything is inside of us, I believe. We have all aspects of different people inside of us. And I think that the people who are afraid of facing what's inside of them.
Oh, interesting.
It's
Very
a reflection
interesting.
of what's inside of them.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a couple of questions, and I know you can talk about shower of hope if Nick needs a shower.
Well, I mean,
It's not just a
it's, you know, when
we
you
should all take one person in, you know?
Yeah.
when you
Become-
talk about a
yeah.
person like Nick,
Yes.
Nick is a person in your neighborhood. So for the people who are against the homeless, it's like, would you want a person like Nick out on the streets, desperate, cold, afraid?
No.
Or do you want them in a place where they're
Right.
getting the care they need?
Right.
Yeah.
All
But
these-
first of all, he could not go to a shelter because he has to be in at a shelter at 4 o'clock. He cannot stay in at 4 o'clock.
The new shelters that we're looking at are not going to be restrictive. They're going to be very accommodating to people
With mental illness?
with mental.
And it should be
there are-
case by case, really. It really should be case by
So
case.
there's a very good system now, like especially that what came with like how do you treat women who come into these shelters with domestic violence issues, sexual assault, rape, and just basic, you know, issues of crime against them.
Right. They're
And
traumatized.
it's called trauma-informed
Yeah.
care. Because you try to treat the root of the trauma because you know that, you know, they're coming with so many issues
Right.
that it's not easy to even just have a simple change in environment. So the bridge housing that's going forward is going to be fully funded, and they're going to be in 24/7 shelters.
And where is it? Because I have been trying to get Nick back on disability because they took him off of disability because he couldn't prove where his last medical diagnosis was. So for 5 months, he has not had any disability. I've been his sole. The government has not helped him at all. And I've been trying to jump through hoops, and I'm an educated woman, and he's a schizophrenic young man.
Yeah.
So it's like
How is that? The system is broken.
the system is very
I
broken.
mean, that's why we're trying to push. The government actually, the city now wants to push these bridge housing facilities. We proposed one for Sherman Oaks by the 101 and Ventura. People came in and screamed at David Ryu saying, not in my
Really?
neighborhood.
Really?
They want to do it. But what we need is people to say, okay, are we going to keep looking at the streets, at the
Right.
tents growing on our streets?
So what can we do? Like what is, like, can we have like a brainstorming session really quickly right now? Like what is there anything that we can do can we bring homeless people like Nick or people that can come as a family and speak at these meetings and talk to the people? Does that happen at all?
Absolutely.
Or
So
it does?
that's one of the biggest things, the tools that we use to, we need to humanize the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I hear all these, that's why I love what Jan is doing.
Yes.
There's this movement, a lot of people say, oh, I fed 100 people. You feed animals, you don't feed people.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
serve people.
Yeah.
If you want to help a person, learn their name.
Yeah.
They're not a number.
Yeah.
The problem is there because we've dehumanized it.
Right.
And the only
that's
way
the
to solve
first
it
thing.
is we
Yeah.
have
Okay.
to humanize it.
That's
Okay.
my point. That was the point of my video. That was everybody get to know everybody. Right now, I believe it's what one person can do with one person. I mean, it starts. It's almost like Mother Teresa, which
Right,
she did one
right.
person at a time. I'm looking for a pro bono attorney to start a special needs trust for Nick, so I can get a trust for him. So I then could get funds to get him even a one-room place, so I can get him off the street, so I can get him help.
Right.
Okay, if people who had that kind of individual care for individual people took responsibility for one person.
Yeah.
If 50,000 people took responsibility for
one person or one
we'd
family.
have 50,000 people off the street.
Yeah.
1 year, my family and I adopted a family to make sure for Christmas to make sure they were taken care of for 1 year. If each person would take personal responsibility to help one person, we could solve it.
Jan is completely right. I mean, at most we have 2,000 caseworkers in the county of LA. And we're looking at close to 100,000 people homeless. And there's no way that they can ever touch the issue.
Right.
But if you're willing to talk to a person like Jan does, take them to lunch, take them to a doctor's appointment, take them to a case management appointment, you're becoming an advocate. You're
Right.
becoming a
That's right.
caseworker.
And it's
that's what we
okay to
need.
do it one person at a time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
For that person, that's their whole world.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
found
whole
someone who did dental work for him.
Wow.
Free dental. You know, I mean, if someone, now, granted, Nick he's not as far gone as some other people. I'm not saying, go beyond what you can do
Right.
Right.
with a person. But I talked to a psychiatrist who said nobody wants to treat schizophrenics anymore. But they've done studies that people who give them care and attention and loving can impact them more than a doctor.
Wow.
Just a little
Go
humanization.
figure, a little human contact, a little human loving. With enough loving, even the rocks will open.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not being naive and
Right,
saying it's
right.
curative,
Right.
but it sure is transformational because
Yeah.
I've seen transform.
I think like when you look at the whole problem, there's so many things we can do.
Yeah.
Like now, one of the growing things we're seeing in schools is food pantries because there's so many. 1 in 3 college students are going hungry.
And washing machines. They're putting washing machines in some kind of high schools where the kids can come in early morning and
Wash their clothes. Yeah.
Simple solution,
Yeah.
but my God, it makes a huge difference in
Yes.
how they feel about
Yeah.
themselves.
So people need to start in. If you work in a place where there's a lot of employees, start a food pantry. And if you find out by any chance someone's struggling, start helping them because that's the
Yeah.
face of homelessness. It's not the person who's mentally ill on the streets anymore. It's people who are working
Yep.
minimum
The
wage
working poor.
and struggling. Something I see that really disgusts me is like people go to places like McDonald's and really degrade and dehumanize the people who work there. They don't understand that they're
Yeah.
getting minimum wage.
Yeah.
They're juggling 2 jobs while they have
Yeah.
kids at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys know how expensive it is to raise kids in
Absolutely.
LA. Are you going to go?
Absolutely.
The question is, are you going to go and work a second job? And this is what a person told me. A dad told me when I took them to a shelter. I used to have a second job, but now daycare is so expensive.
Yeah.
I have to stay at
Yep.
home and take care of my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's a
was at
constant
a movie theater, and the lady who was serving us actually had her daughter sitting in a corner reading a book. And I kind of glanced over, and she's like, I have to bring her with me. I have to pick her up after school, and she has to stay with me because I can't afford the after school program.
Yeah.
And she says, and so she gets to do her homework. And so she gets to stay with her till 10 o'clock at night in that little corner on the floor reading her book because her mom has to work that night shift. So it's very real. But I wanted to ask Jan some really specific questions about
Yes,
what it
I
is
have
that you're
specific
doing.
questions, too.
Because, like I said, I saw the video and it blew me out of the water. And I thought, wow, that's... and then reading your bio, I realized, and I told her, I said, you're a spiritual person, and people who are spiritual tend to have a much more sensitivity to other
Yeah.
human beings.
Yeah.
So that made sense to me, the connection of heart and mind and what you're doing. But And I asked her, I said, did your family think,
Yes.
have you lost your damn mind?
That was my main question.
And what are you
We're gonna
doing?
let you think about that. Do you want to do a commercial?
Yes, we have our commercial. Of
Yes.
course, if I can just find my little notes. Oh, yes. So today's show is being brought to you by Zavala Law Firm PC. Attorney Evie Zavala has been achieving exceptional results for his clients facing DUI and other charges for over 15 years. Evie has earned a reputation as the attorney to turn to in difficult and even seemingly unwinnable cases. His unique legal talents and courtroom intuitions obtain stunning results, rigorously protecting the rights and interests of his clients. If you need criminal defense, contact Zavala Law Firm at 818-987-7010. 987-7010 or visit zavalalawfirm.com.
Yes, fantastic. Yes, I think we both had that same question.
Yeah.
Because that was like my very first question for you was, what did your family think when you said, or did you even tell anybody? Did you just start like doing it?
Well,
let's tell people who don't know, or if they haven't seen the video, what it is that you do.
Okay. Well, I want to tell the story the way it happened.
Sure.
I gave up my car over a year ago, and I started walking.
Yeah.
Okay?
So you've been only doing this for a year?
I've been doing it for a year.
Wow.
A little over a year. And as I started walking, I started seeing homeless people everywhere.
Yeah.
And I started connecting with them. And they were, they would say, good morning, God bless you. And I would say, good morning, God bless you. And then all of a sudden, my heart would open, and so I would start talking to them, and eventually I just said, well, I want to know more about you.
Yeah.
You want to have lunch? And
like, who does that? Honest to
Jan
goodness.
Shepherd.
Jan.
and I walk in Santa Monica, okay, and the promenade, there still was Starbucks, there still was Barnes and Noble, and so I said, let's go to California Pizza Kitchen.
Yeah.
It's public.
Yeah.
What the hell is going to happen? Excuse me for
No, you're fine.
nothing. It's not like I'm walking down a back alley or anything. So we went and had lunch, and we had a wonderful talk.
Okay.
And so I said, I'm going to do it again. And I did it again, and I did it again. And I saw the same people,
Okay.
So I started building up relationships, and then I started doing more and more. And I didn't want to share it. And then I had a very good friend. I have a very good friend, Ariana Huffington, and she said, darling, you have to share about it. And I said, no, I'm not going to. This is a very personal thing.
Yeah.
No, you have to share about it. I said, no, I'm not going to.
So did you not tell your family at all?
I didn't tell anybody.
That's how she got away with it.
Oh my God.
If I was your child, I'd be like, mother.
Yes. What are you doing? Have you lost your mind?
A friend of mine who's a very good writer wrote about it. And Ariana published it in Thrive Global, and I thought, well, I better tell my family.
Yes.
But at that point, I told them, and they trust me. I said, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to any place but public places. And I met these wonderful, very interesting people, and they've told me about their lives. And, they know I'm a loving human being, and they know I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And they know I'm pretty sensitive to drug energy.
Okay.
But the other day, I was walking, and I met this guy, and I could tell he was on meth. And he said, "Can I have money to get a big gulp?" And I said, "Come on, I'll buy you a big gulp." And I said, "So how long have you been doing meth?"
Yeah.
And we talked about it. We talked about how hard it is to get off of it.
Yeah.
And blah blah blah, and how hard he's trying. And it's like I said, look. I used to be 350 pounds, so I understand about addiction. I said, good luck giving up that addiction. I understand.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you live.
Yeah.
So give it up. But, and then.
And that's what you could do for that person at that moment.
And that's what I could do for that. Just give them unconditionally loving.
Yeah.
And.
So I had a question
go ahead.
about when you take them to lunch. Like I was like trying to like pick it apart, but not pick it apart too much. Because the first thing that I thought, Santa Monica promenade, I saw that the video you shot was on the promenade, touristy area, a nice area. Business owners don't like the homeless population there. So the first thing I thought is, when you take someone into a restaurant, have you had any pushback? Have you had any like, I'm sorry, we can't serve you, or we can't serve this person,
No,
or anything?
The only thing I had, I took some people for Thanksgiving because my daughter was going to her in-laws, and I said, I'd rather take homeless people out to lunch. So for Thanksgiving, I took 4 of them to a restaurant on the promenade, and they preferred that because they all had their gear, that I eat outside. There was there's inside
outdoor,
right. So because of all the gear, they preferred that I ate at a table outside.
So are you not afraid of catching an illness or the odor or
yes, that was my other question.
The odor sometimes is a little
because do you hug everybody?
So you're not
hugs
reserved
everyone.
as to I don't even know they have they're a little sick or
no. The only thing I did, Nick had the flu, and instead of letting him come to my house, I got him a hotel for 3 days. I didn't feel like catching the flu.
Now, how do they respond to you? Are they receptive to you? Is it okay? Like they're like, oh yeah, let's go to lunch.
Oh, they love it.
Do they really? So they don't,
because they want to share. Nobody listens to them.
So no one has ever said to you, no, thank you.
No.
Really?
No, because I've talked to them and they get that. I just want to know about them.
Because Janice, that's the difference between the people in LA and Janice. Janice sees the people as a human being. She has a name. She uses a name.
Humanized them.
When you approach a person and you're just going to throw a coin, of course someone's not going to be receptive to you. But if you look at them like, oh, this a person like, I mean, I see like Janice's eyes light up when she talks about how it is when you go and have lunch and whatnot. How is it any different when we go with a person who's working, who has a job, and we take them to lunch versus they're not working,
I mean,
they're a normal human being.
And I've had some beautiful experiences because it's like one guy said, oh, they're not going to let me in here. I said, tell you what, I gave him $20 and I said, you pay for our lunch. I gave him the experience that, well, it was more than $20, but it's like, you pay for it. And giving them the dignity. It's like because, and then this one guy who had been in jail because he killed someone, and he killed someone because they went after his mother, and he started crying because he forgave himself, because he had carried such a heavy load, but he had gotten out of jail because it was self-defense, really. And then there was this other guy who went back to the South to take care of his son. I mean, I've had some incredible stories.
I was going to say, how do you follow the people? Do you just do one person and follow them through and help them as much as you can and then move on? Or depends. Do you have like a system? Is it just a Tuesday and I want to take someone out to lunch?
It really depends. There are a couple guys have moved away, some women. I mean, it just depends. I get a little too involved and then I have to cut away. Okay.
Because it's very hard. I was going to say, like, for me as a person, I would get to know that person. I would get to know their story. And then I would be so like, I need to help you. Like,
that's my problem.
How do you?
How do you make that transition where you kind of help them get what they need and then
because
move
I
on?
agree. I feel like everybody has a story. I just want to tell this really quick story. There was a family. It was one of the first times I had ever seen a family in Santa Clarita outside of one of our grocery stores. And I thought to myself, there must be something as a mother, as a parent, to bring your children. I feel badly whenever I see families and people having their kids and asking for money because I just feel like it's already bad enough. Put your children someplace else. Don't expose them to that. And so when I saw this, I just felt like there has to have been something traumatic that makes those parents say, I have to bring you with me and we have to do this, because nobody with a choice would make that choice to do that unless they absolutely had to. And so many times we just continue to drive by. We just, okay, here, let me give you $5 instead of stopping and taking the time. And by the time I thought about it and I turned back around to go back and find out, they were already gone because I think the supermarket had asked them to leave or whatever. But I think that connection, I think people need to have that connection. And I think it's there in all of us. We just don't listen to it,
We don't want to be bothered. We don't want to have the time. We're too busy. We're moving to the next thing.
Yeah.
It's like a litany of things.
One of the important things when you talk about homelessness, specifically to women, is you see a lot of women who are homeless. They come from wealthy families. They come from a wealthy relationship, but one person owned the wealth in that relationship. And if there was domestic abuse, that's no like, you try to fight to get your money back. How long is going to take?
Yeah.
If the other person has a good attorney, it would take years. What are you going to do till then?
Yeah.
I know people with kids who've slept in their cars, in their Mercedes.
Wow.
Because, when you look at them, they live in $1 million home, they have a great car, but nothing's under their name. And now you're with the kid, now you're trying to keep them protected.
Yeah.
Now, when you meet that person, the trauma is the domestic violence. The trauma is, how am I going to keep my kid safe in a car?
Right.
The trauma is, I failed as a mother because I had to keep my kid safe in a car. And now you're looking at, okay, the person's gone through hell and back. So when you meet a person, when I meet people, I mean, it's the same. If you approach a person who's homeless, it's no different than approaching any other person. We all had a friend who's a mooch, right? You become a friend and you give them cash and they're like, oh yeah, I'll pay you later. You keep boundaries. That's the same way when you approach a person who's homeless.
Okay.
Treat them as a regular person. Keep boundaries. Give them what they need, not what they want.
Or what you can give without feeling anything inside like you're doing it more. You give from your overflow. You give from what you can. That's why at this point I'm trying to set up a trust that other people can help me. I'm going outside of myself because I've reached my limit of what I can do. But I want to support in any way that I can.
Yeah.
But I have to take care of me
Yeah.
to be able to take care of him.
Yeah. Well, I want to just quote something you say. I want to say something that you said in the documentary, which I thought was so powerful, was give your love away, or someone said this to you, give your love away or you will die.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so powerful. Like if we lived like that every day and woke up and thought about that the minute we woke up, how am I going to give my love away? Like I always tell my son when I drop him off from school, I always say to him, make somebody smile today, because he's a very happy, loving kid. And I always tell him, make somebody smile today. And he laughs and he just like looks at me, like, Mom, really? But just make somebody smile to it, because you're going to make them feel good. That little instance where you kind of chuckle and you don't know what that person was feeling at that time. So I thought that was just, we should put that on our T-shirt. Give your love away or you'll die.
Yeah.
Or your love will die.
Or it will die, right? Give your love away or it will die.
Or your love will die. Yeah, that's so, that's so powerful. But I wanted I don't want to run out of time without talking about the shower of hope. And if you can let us know, how does that work? Where is it located? How do people get to use it?
So right now it's at Shabaram Park in Hacienda Heights. That's one of our trailers.
So it's a trailer.
We have
Is
two
it
trailers.
mobile?
Yeah, it's completely mobile. We have a third trailer on the way. Basically, we go to locations.
Okay.
We have 53,000 homeless people.
Yes, that's a lot.
The city has
Spread
a
out,
few places where people can get services, and public transport sucks in LA.
Right.
We go to where, right now we have 11 locations. But the beauty of it is it's big part of it is how we let people humanize themselves. It's not the same person who goes into that shower who comes out. And they don't come out like, if we can, we always try to give them clean underwear. I have this person, he comes in and they always ask for this particular moisturizer. Why? Because I use a particular kind of moisturizer. We all have our things. And when they come out, they're happy. We always have food at our locations. And also the crucial part of it is we always work with LASA, PATH, Exodus, and all these organizations so that when a person's had a shower, they've shaved, they look great, they're happy. There's a case manager there to say, hey, if you want a little bit more help, we're here.
So do you do that once a week, once a month? Like how does that?
6 days a week, 11 locations.
Oh. Wow.
That's
So you
brilliant.
guys move around?
Yeah, it's completely.
Are you doing this full time, or do you?
Yes.
You are. So do your day
2 months
job?
ago, I was
Okay, because I was going to say you had a day job. This is not.
Yes.
There's no way you could do this with a day job.
We're pretty close.
What's the name of your nonprofit?
Thank you. The Shower of Hope, theshowerofhope.org.
Yes.
We 11 locations. We have tomorrow Hollywood Adventist Church, South Pasadena, Holy Family Church on Wednesdays. Thursdays we're in Lincoln Park. I even forget. Huntington.
Is it
Park.
on the website?
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
website.
We have it on our Facebook
locations.
Live and page right now, so you can click on it.
And it'll
we
tell you the
always need
schedule
help.
and
We
where.
always need volunteers, and it's a great way to
You
connect.
need volunteers. Do you need donations for the
Absolutely.
supplies?
Yeah, we are always looking to expand. We have a third trail on the way, and we're looking to hit 14 locations by the end of the year.
Do you have companies that give you product, like for soap and things like that?
Some companies do. We actually, the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, every Friday, because one of the locations is really close, Don Jacinto, he's the general manager. He always, their staff come in, they bring in like gourmet food.
Oh,
they bring in
wow.
the moisturizers, the
Wow.
soap they have.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing, it's not like, hey, here's some product.
Right.
The staff there volunteer all the time.
Oh, wow.
Then we had Stephen Matoya, one of our volunteers. He works at Cheesecake Factory.
Nice.
He started bringing all these people from the Cheesecake Factory.
That's
and
fantastic.
Help, yeah.
Now you're connecting.
Listen,
and
I'm going to
that's-
show up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was
Like,
going to ask you, so do
this
you
is
ask?
exciting.
Like, did you ask the Roosevelt? Like, did you go in and say, hey, we have this shower set up. Do you have anything that you would like to donate? Or did they find you? Did
Someone
they come to
told
you?
Don, who's the general manager,
Okay.
and he called me and said, when are we going to start?
Oh, wow.
That's
That's
wonderful.
fantastic. Yeah.
And there's so many, so many people, like even individual people.
They want to help.
You know,
Yeah.
they
People
just
do
And you
wanna
have to
help.
ask,
They
I
need
think,
to
too.
know how.
Yeah.
And our base is like we did with Monday Night Mission is always humanize the person.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you still
Learn.
doing Monday Night Mission?
We suspended it. We stopped 3-4 months ago
Okay.
because we were concentrating on that because you work in the Shower of Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the principle is the same. Learn the person's name. Make eye contact.
Yeah.
Become a friend. Don't ever think you're playing God and they're going to help a person. We all need help.
Right.
Be a friend, and
Yes,
that
I
is
love
how
that.
you start to make
Be
change.
a friend. Yes.
Yeah.
Give your love away and be a friend.
Just
Give your
don't play
love away.
God. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's very good. Now, also the movie, The Advocate. Tell us about that.
So The Advocate's in theaters. It was, we had a French producer called Remy Kessler. He came in, he's like, I want to see how I can document what you guys do.
It's fantastic.
He ended up capturing the work of Claudia and Rudy, two amazing caseworkers. And that's a big thing that people need to realize, like what caseworkers go through in LA to help a
Yes.
person.
Yes.
Literally, they give up a part of their life for
Yes.
us. You know, taking people to doctor's appointments.
Yep.
Like, you know, there's parts where Rudy's like afraid that this person's gonna die. He had to be the caretaker for the wife of one of the people because when the husband got sick, she couldn't take care of herself. She was mentally ill. So The Advocate is in theaters until the 25th. And it really
okay.
shows, you know, what these caseworkers go through to help the people, how bad the problem is, and like exactly what Jan is doing, how we all need to get involved. We need to learn people's names. We
Yes.
need to make connections, and we need to understand we're all in this together. Right now,
Yeah.
everybody's suffering to pay the rent. I am.
Yeah.
So everybody I know. We all need to work together towards this, or it's not just this city, it's not just this state.
Yeah.
We've become, like, you know, Mike Dennis, a friend of mine, said we've become so unraveled that we see the problem going so bad and we're so afraid of it, we're dehumanizing it because
Yeah.
we're so afraid of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is us. We are all struggling. But if we all want to do something, trust me, we can fix this.
Yeah.
This was a problem created by humans, and humans are going to be the people who are going to fix
That's
this.
very
That's
good.
right.
Do
Yes.
something.
Yeah,
Yes.
do something
Yes.
heartfelt, right?
Do
yes.
something heartfelt.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Do you have another question?
So that, no.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No. Okay. But before I go, I just wanted to ask you: do you feel like the mayor is moving towards something?
I give the mayor a lot of credit.
Okay.
Mayor Eric Garcetti and Councilmember
Because you were able to meet with
Mike
him.
Bonan,
finally.
they've been really pushing this. They had a town hall where they got completely attacked, but them, Councilmember Herb Wesson, they're fighting. And one thing I say is, you know, I know a lot of people don't want to get involved in politics,
Right.
and we are never going to find the perfect candidate.
Right.
except for Bernie Sanders. But
Shameless plug.
Well, we're not talking. We had a
we-
politics last week.
Yeah.
Let's not go
but,
there.
but if you see an issue that's benefiting the community,
Yeah.
it's not the politician you're pushing, it's the issue and the help it brings to people.
Okay.
So the bridge housing in Venice, in Sherman Oaks, right here in this neighborhood, all the there's a permanent supportive housing for 80 veterans in Downey where people are screaming it down. Come out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Say you support. We know there's a silent majority. Unless you come out, it's the
Right.
greedy, self-serving,
Those are the ones that are loud.
ignorant people who are loud who are going to be heard. And that's the whole thing. That's why Martin Luther King Jr. always said, we need the silent majority. We need you to speak up. Just when you talk about the fact we need solutions, and I
Yes.
accept solutions in my neighborhood.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's how change starts. But the
Yes.
silent majority needs to speak up.
Yes. Okay.
And
Very
they may
good.
have different solutions. We have to respect everybody's idea of different solutions. Just because someone has a more conservative approach doesn't mean that they don't have a solution and their heart isn't filled and they're not willing to go out
Yeah.
and support some other things. I don't like separation or againstness. I think we all have to come together and find a way to open our hearts and minds and pocketbooks and
Yeah.
help people. And if it's an individual philanthropist who wants to build a house for 12 people,
Do
so
it.
be it.
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
who does it, just let's do it.
Yeah.
What an honor to be in
Yes.
the presence of both of you.
Yes.
Honest to goodness, I
Yes.
know I'm all excited. I'm worked
got
up. I'm worked up.
goosebumps.
I'm going to do something. I
Yes.
promise. And I do want to say thank you to both
Yes,
Jan
thank you
Shepherd and
so
Melty,
much.
Mr. T, for joining us this morning, for sharing your stories and your advocacy and your
And your
charitable.
inspiration.
Yeah.
You
Thank
both are very inspirational.
Yeah.
Just
Thank you for
regular,
having me.
everyday people. Everyday people just like you and
Yeah.
me.
Hashtag do something heartfelt. Hashtag give your love away or your love will die. That's
Yeah.
my new hashtag. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. So all the information that you've heard is on our Facebook Live. And it's also going to be on our website and all our social media platforms. So if you want to know how to get a hold of either one of them, that's a good way to find out. But we'll make sure to stay connected.
Yeah.
And heartfelt, hashtag heartfelt do something heartfelt goes to Thrive Global. And if you have things that you're doing, Thrive Global will
Put those
publish
up.
them.
Oh,
yeah, So
fantastic.
you can do it to Thrive Global.
Yes.
Ariana really
Okay.
wants to support what people are doing in their community.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Fantastic.
I know. I love Thrive Global.
Yes.
So thank you so much
Yes,
again. Thank you
thank
for
you
being here. We
both.
want to thank you for watching, for listening. We hope you've been informed, educated, and entertained. Catch us Wednesday with another informative show. We thank you. Have a great rest
Yes,
of your
have
week.
a great week. Bye.
You're listening to Table for Five with Felicia and Annette, only on LA Talk Radio.